What's going on this morning? This is Dylan Talks Tone. I am working on a tele body. So the video for this guitar is coming out soon. That's not what this video is about today. Today we are going to talk about quality and guitar setups. And at the end of this video, speaking of setup, I'm actually, when we go to our little FAQ and do questions from other videos and stuff at the end of this video, is where you're going to see the results of last week's blind test of the tele pickup or the tele saddles that you all asked for. So stick around to the end of this video for that. In the news a lot lately, in the music news a lot lately, there's been all kinds of stuff about quality. Obviously this is centered around Gibson. So people think that Gibson quality sucks over the last few years and blah, blah, blah. And they're probably not the only guitar company that suffers, these sort of things. Put it in the comments below whether you've gone to a guitar store before, bought a guitar, got it home and wasn't happy with the quality of the setup or the fret ends or anything like that. Let me know, put that in the comments. The reason is because I feel like a lot of times the quality of a guitar that you pull off the shelf in Guitar Center or Sam Ash or any of these, especially the bigger box retailers, is poor, not because the guitar is poor, but because they don't go to the level of setup and care to the guitar in the dealership. What I mean by that is Gibson can set up a guitar, they can do all the work, right? They can put it in a box and then they UPS it to the store and then it sits in a warehouse for a while. Then it gets hung up on the wall and then it gets hung up on the wall for who knows how long. And literally when they take it out of the box and hang it on the wall, they literally take it out of the box, hang it on the wall. They don't do anything else. I've seen them do it. So then once that happens, then you go in there and you buy it. This guitar has never really been set up properly. Then they hand it to you and you're like, oh, this thing feels terrible. Or you get it home and you're just not as happy with it as you thought you were because it's terrible. The fret ends are terrible. The setup sucks. The action is terrible. The intonation is off. And here you are like, Gibson builds a terrible quality guitar. So here's what I think. I think that every person that sells a guitar, I don't care if you're a small business, if you are a custom builder like me who only builds like a couple of dozen guitars a year, if you are a big box store, I think you should do a proper setup on every guitar that you sell. That way the end user gets a proper picture of what that guitar should feel like, and you should have somebody that knows what they're doing do it. And here's a few things that I think you should do. So here's what we're gonna do. I got a couple guitars that we sold, Dylan Talks Tone, Dylan Custom Guitars, and they want to make a couple of changes before we ship them out. This particular guitar is going to be getting a different pick guard. He wanted, I've got this like, what do they call that? Cream, well, we'll just call it cream, whatever. Anyway, so that's coming off of there, and then we're going to put this Perloid pick guard on there for him. So that's cool. We're going to put a new set of strings on it, obviously. We're going to check the frets. And then the other thing I like to do, even with brand new guitars, because nickel, if it sits at all or as you play it, it starts to tarnish. So we're going to use the Lizard Spit Ultimate Fret Polishing System, and we're also going to use the Lizard Spit polish, and we're also going to use the fretboard oil and get this thing all cleaned up, double check the setup. So let's go ahead and whip the strings off of this thing and get this fretboard cleaned up and polish these frets. Boom. Perloid pickguard. That looks pretty sick. If you like Perloid stuff. Alright, so now the next thing we need to look at is these frets and the fretboard. So first of all, first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Lizard Spit polishing system, fret polishing system, and polish up these frets. The fret ends look really good. I control the humidity and stuff around here, so that's pretty good. But we want to polish up the frets. I want them to have like a properly shiny finish before it goes out to its new owner. So let's get on that. All right, so the secret to fretboard fret maintenance, in my opinion, first of all, you never use, ever use any kind of steel wool. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of people argue about it, and then honestly, it's because they're lazy. I'm just gonna say it. Use the right stuff and you don't have a problem. This thing comes with a polishing pad. It comes with the actual polishing little pads that you use on the frets. And then it comes with these little fret protectors so that you don't get a bunch of stuff in your fretboard. And it's got this sweet little www.lizardspit.com logo laser etched in it. So let's go ahead and get started. I find that I can usually get a couple of guitars out of each kit. So we're gonna do both guitars that we need today with this kit. And you can see as you go, it takes that tarnish off of the fret. All right, so here's a normal fret that we haven't done yet. Okay. Remind you, this is on a new guitar. It just happens. And this are the polished frets that I've done. The last few here from about here up are polished like glass, like super pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish these up. All right, so frets are polished. Next step is gonna be fretboard oil. I use this Lizard Spit stuff. Again, I'm gonna tell you, don't use household chemicals on your fretboard. Just don't do it at all. Everybody will make excuses because they're too lazy to buy the right stuff. That's all there is to it. Yeah, but I use blah, blah, and I've been using it for years and it's blah. No. The other thing too is, I think a lot of people have a misconception that fretboard oil is for like a hydration, but it's not. It's really to clean it. When you play, you know, you get goo from your fingers and all that stuff coming from sweat, and you know, obviously people sweat differently and various levels of acidity and all that sort of stuff all happens. And this orange oil that he uses, it's all natural ingredients, easy on the earth. Stuff's pretty awesome. And this little bottle, we sell it on our website, has lasted me, I mean, it's 2/3 full still, and I've had it for 2 years, and I do this like every week on guitars. It's like a little tiny bit, will last you forever. You don't have to use a ton. So now we have polished frets and a freshly oiled fretboard and cleaned fretboard. Let's go ahead and grab some guitar polish and hit this with some guitar polish to clean it up. I use this Lizard Spit guitar polish for the same reason. It's got the right ingredients and not the wrong ones. There's no silicone in it. All of your car waxes, most of your car waxes anyway, and a lot of your household polishes and furniture polish all have silicone in them, which is an oil, more or less. And we've done a video on it in the past. It never really comes off. It is horrendous to deal with, especially when you need to get something repaired. This has still got marks on it from a video we did with a dry erase pencil. All right, let's go ahead and throw some strings on this thing and do a setup. All right, so now that we got it this far, we got strings on it. I'm gonna stretch the strings. I'll tune it up to pitch. I'll stretch the strings. And then we'll do this in order like we're supposed to with a guitar setup. We will check the neck relief and make sure it's correct. It should be pretty close to what it already was. So we'll check the neck relief. I'm going to recheck the string height at the nut. Then we will check the saddle height. Down here, I'll use the 12th fret. And adjust the saddles accordingly, and then we will check the intonation, adjust the intonation. Everything should be pretty close because I just played this yesterday. All we're doing is really putting new strings on it. We used this guitar for our saddle experiment, so I know I set the intonation on it last week. So everything should be good, and then I just need to double check the pickup height of the neck pickup because I replaced the pick guard, and of course you have to take that out. So I'll plug it into the Kemper, play a few chords on it, and do that. So every builder, every store, every vendor of guitar stuff should go through the steps and set the guitar up correctly. I think that if every guitar store did that, I mean, there's stores like, for instance, like Righteous Guitars in Atlanta, there's never been a bad Gibson on their wall because they don't let it happen. And I think that if everybody did that, we would not be having near as many of these conversations as we do about quality. Like with Gibson, for example, they might still have some bad guitars go out the door. But the thing is if the end consumer never saw them because the vendors and all of the stores and everybody held them to task, we wouldn't be where we are talking about Gibson. So I think that if everybody did it, the world would be a better place. If you get the guitar home or you buy a used guitar and you want to do a setup, you know, we've got this whole series of videos on our channel where you can learn how to do setups and stuff. So definitely check that out. Before we go today, we're going to do a couple things. One, we are going to give you the results of our blind saddle test. We're going to go through some comments from our videos and we're going to give you the results of that blind saddle test. All right, so instead of going through normal comments from videos like we normally do, today we're going to tell you the results of the Telecaster saddle blind test. This was a really fun thing to do. Everybody that commented, I really appreciate it. If you are seeing this for the first time and haven't gone back and guessed what they are, take a listen anyway. The video is pretty fun. The whole series that we did on it's pretty fun. So here it is. It's in this order. There was 4 of them, and so they are Graphtec, aluminum, brass, and steel. Not one person who guessed this got it right, which was really fun. What it tells me is that there's 2 things that happen here. I'm pretty sure, and I've said this in other videos, that people just want to be confirmed that they're right, that something that they've been told on the internet for years is right. So then when you push them to task and tell them, do this blind test, they don't even want to do it. Because I've seen people like comment on one video, oh yeah, that's what it is. And then when you do a blind test, they're like, like it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, it's so funny. And then the other thing is that nobody's right. So what you think you're hearing isn't right. And so all these assumptions that people make all the time is for no reason. It's really, really super fun to find that out for real. So it's a really cool video. Anyway, check that video out. There's the results to it. Graphtec, aluminum, brass, and steel in that order. Go back and listen to it if you're not sure. Super fun. And until next time, thanks for hanging out, and we will talk to you soon.